It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
I'm Joe Tarosian, and this is RamView, the November the 12th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word. KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair, having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, a new friend of the show, Sports Ball Games. Make game day funner for you and your crew. Play sports ball. Play for a hill of beans or jelly beans. And we'll talk more about sports ball games a little bit further into the show. Okay, it is Wednesday. Week 11 is upon us. Tomorrow night, you got the Jets and Pats, and I'm interested. I don't know if other people are interested, but I'm interested. And of course, we have Apocalypse on Sunday, Rams, Seahawks, 2 7-2 teams, two teams that have lost to Frisco, right? And now they're playing for the leading post here, the inside post here of the NFC West. And I got to admit, I like the Rams this week. I really do. But I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. It's going to be a division opponent, right? And it's going to be physical. But I do like the Rams just a little bit better. But this is what concerns me. What concerns me are Avila, Shelton, and Dotson. Now, I like Dotson. I don't think we have to worry about Dotson. That's Steve Avila, Coleman Shelton, and Kevin Dotson. What concerns me is now we're going to find out how far have they come. Now, I think that was Justin Diedick. Was it Justin Diedick that played against Philly? But how far have the interior of the Rams offensive line come? Because this is the toughest interior they've faced since Philly, of Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy. And they got off the hook because Jarran Reed is on the IR now in Seattle. And that Ram running game has been fantastic. We've talked about how the Rams have really balanced things out. It's been great to see what they're doing here. But can Avila, Shelton, and Dotson get a push on Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy? And even more importantly, can they avoid, right? Can they avoid and keep inside pressure from reaching Matthew Stafford? Now, I think the Rams can be creative on this, but this is the concerning part for me going in. The same Seahawks issues that I've always thought about, that we've talked about here quite a bit this offseason and going in, is could they get a return to form on Charles Cross at left tackle and mostly Abraham Lucas? Charles Cross has been pretty solid since his rookie year of 2022. USA Expat, thank you for clicking on. I'll get right to you. But I wanted to finish this one thought. The question coming in was, would Abraham Lucas show up at right tackle after two injury-riddled seasons? And he's been great. Well, not great, but he's been really solid. He's a great bookend to Charles Cross. The issue here is the interior of the Seahawks offensive line. As much as I have questions about Avila, Shelton, and Dotson, I think there should be some questions in regard to the interior of the Seahawks offensive line. Gray Zabel's been okay for a rookie, but he hasn't been great. I don't like their interior. And their center, Jalen Sundell, will be out with a knee injury. In fact, he's going to be out multiple weeks. And what an opportunity for the Rams to, again, the Seahawks have had struggles running the ball. They've had moments, but Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, they've had some issues running the ball. And I think this plays into the Rams' advantage. And so these are the things I'm really thinking about going into this week. All right, cool. USA Expat, as long as it doesn't come down to a horrible calls by the ref, which have a major influence on the game. Are you thinking of Puka getting thrown out last year on that ridiculous issue that he got thrown out of that game up in Lumen Field? Remember that? Remember how crazy that was? Yeah, I thought so. Let's see who we got here. We got 623 3666. Just play Darnold like we did in the playoffs, and we'll be fine. Yeah, I'm not afraid of Darnold. I know a lot of people are ready to make him MVP. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think there's anything about him that scares us, right? JSN can be a little scary, but I think the Rams have enough to take care of him. Rashid Shaheed should get on the field, and then of course they're gonna bring in Cooper Kupp's going to be there, probably playing the slot. But do you think that maybe Cooper Kupp can be handled by Quentin Lake at this point in his career? I think this is the last of the best you're going to see of Cooper Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp has potential to have a great game against the Rams because he's going to be super motivated. But I think he's going to finish this year with a good year, right? He stays healthy. He's going to have 50 catches. But I think this is it for him. And we can't argue anymore, can we, about the Rams' decision to move on from Cooper Kupp beyond emotion. They made the right move. US Expat, one huge advantage the Rams have in these big games is their playoff experiences. And the Rams have won. Well, they used to take care of Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson quite a bit, and they've won these games. You're right. I think that's a great point. And again, McVay versus McDonald, okay, we're going to go McVay. We're going to go Stafford over Darnold for sure. An early sack on Darnold will get into his head. You know what they should do is bring out the Halloween. Instead of putting the Halloween stuff away, they should bring out the Halloween stuff so he sees ghosts, right? Have him see some ghosts. As of right now, on the Rams side of things that, from what everything I'm hearing, is things so far are trending good for Davante Adams. And that's really the only injury the Rams are really talking about. Darius Williams got back on the field, so that was a good thing. And so everything is trending there. What you want to see also, the offensive line has been playing with consistency in terms of continuity. That's what I mean. What I am curious about, though, Davante Adams, right? Okay, if Davante Adams is limited a little bit, maybe we can't get 55 snaps out of him. I don't know, 50, 45. Of course, we know Puka. I'm really interested to see Terrence Ferguson's expanded role. And so I looked it up today. This is something that I bag on PFF. I pay for it, of course, but I bag on PFF. But this is something I really love, is I love the snap breakdowns of where players are lining up. So Ferguson has played 105 offensive snaps this year, 105. I think he had 24 this past week, 22 the week before, 34 the week before that. And so they've been working him in more and more, and we're seeing it. We're seeing Stafford going to him. But here was the interesting thing. This guy's a tight end, right? 105 offensive snaps, but 56 of those snaps have come with him lining up in the slot or out wide. And again, this is how he's getting on the field. And so that idea that the Rams didn't go out and get another receiver, and then we're seeing Stafford confidently go down to him, throw the ball to him in 50-50 situations, and even in double coverage sometimes. I think this is the reason the Rams didn't make a trade for another wide receiver. I think this is the issue. I think they really believe that they've got something in Ferguson. And yeah, maybe he's not the elevated to the perfect blocking tight end they want him to be right now, but the way he runs, the way he catches, the way he gets downfield, 105 offensive snaps, and already 56 of them have come in the slot and out wide as opposed to in tight at tight end. So again, yeah, I think that's something to keep an eye on going forward, and exciting to see. And I think he presents a matchup problem for Seattle. I really do. I do have something else here I wanted to show you guys. Oh, yeah, here we go. It's just playing with all this machinery here stuff. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's look at this. I hope you guys can see that. I just screen captured it. This is the Rams. The Rams in what would this be? 11 personnel against the Seahawks. You can see there's a lot of green, and when you see a lot of green on PFF, that means these guys are playing exceptional ball. Havenstein and Higbee would be the lowest rated Rams. And again, these are PFF grades. So, I mean, they gave a terrible grade to Emmanuel Forbes last week, which pretty stupid. But anyway, when you're seeing this, you're looking at a lot of green for both these teams, right? You can see what the Seahawks have up the middle in Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy. DeMarcus Lawrence scored 2 touchdowns last week. You can see that. Do you guys need to see me? Here, let's make this fun here. There we go. There I am. And their secondaries played well. Witherspoon, in Imanawari, you can see that right here. That shows the Rams with 11 personnel. You see Xavier Smith in the slot. I think that's just an issue of how far he's come. So you like everything you're seeing here. What you're missing here is Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones is a little questionable with a bad knee, and so that has to make you feel, man, Rams made a good move. They didn't want to extend Ernest Jones. They traded to the Titans, and they got out of the Ernest Jones business, and I don't think we're complaining. USA expat Ferguson can play pseudo wide receiver just like Puka is a pseudo tight end. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Looking at this on the other side of the ball with the Seahawks in 11 personnel, you can see here you got Kupp in the slot, and you got Najigba, who's having a big year. He was the slot guy. Remember, they moved off Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And then on the other side, you got Rashid Shaheed out there, who they hope to start working in. The one guy that's been a disappointment this year to me is Elijah Arroyo. I think a lot of people liked Elijah Arroyo quite a bit. He's had a couple of moments, but I think we were expecting more from Elijah Arroyo. And so Charbonnet has been getting a lot of key snaps, especially in the red zone. He's a lot more physical than Walker. But you could see along the front here, the Seahawks, Zabel, the backup here, Oluwatimi. I think he was a starter last year. But Bradford, they're not deep in that interior. And so the Rams have opportunity. And then, of course, look at the Rams, right? They're grading Forbes out very poorly. Durant's, we know what we see with our eyes. Lake matching up against Kupp, I'll take that matchup. And then, of course, Spates and Landman. I'll take Landman over Ernest Jones at this point in their careers. Again, Rams are not showing behind this depth here. You've got Jalen McCullough, right, at safety. You got Darius Williams in here. We still haven't played Roger McCreary. You're seeing Verse and Turner and Braden Fisk. You're not being showed Poona Ford. You're not being showed some of the other guys that are there for the Rams right now. Tank Davis isn't listed, so you're seeing a lot of depth there for the Rams. I like the Rams in this game. I really do. I think it'll be physical. I think it'll be tough. But what concerns me again is how will the Rams be with Avila, Shelton, and Dotson? Those are the 3 guys that make me concerned because of Murphy and Williams. And I just don't want them getting pressure. Again, the Cardinals got exposed last week. I really wouldn't get all worked up about what they did against the Rams, against the Cardinals, what the Seahawks did against the Cardinals. Cardinals are a bad team. Everything's falling apart right now in Arizona. So I would look at this. And then, they were talking about creative blitzes from McDonald because he's defensive specialist coach. But the Seahawks, do they really want to blitz against Matthew Stafford? And I think they would want to trust their secondary. And so that's going to be interesting. If they can get a pass rush going with just their front guys there against ours, or an interior rush, some of those receivers might not be open because their secondary is not bad with Bryant and Witherspoon and stuff. And so Okada up there, Tariq Woolen isn't even that bad in man-to-man coverage. So it'll be a little sloppy. It'll be a little tough. I think the Rams, it could be really physical. And I do like the Rams in this game. And I'll take your thoughts going forward. All right, let's knock out a couple other things here. In terms of victories, the Rams, against their opponents that they've beaten, their opponents' records are 31-35. Rams have beaten a couple of teams, the Saints and the Titans, who are a combined 3-15. So that affects the Rams there. Seahawks, their opponents that they've beaten are 22-33. and they've whooped more chumps. They've had more chumps than the Rams have had. And so I do, again, I like the Rams in this game. I'm not fearful of Darnold. And we've seen what Charles Cross is good, but we've seen what Jared Verse did to Charles Cross last year. So I'm very confident in this game. Rams signed a tight end, Nick Muse, to the practice squad. I'm just wondering if he gets promoted to a fourth tight end because they're going to hybrid Terrence Ferguson out going down the stretch. Tutu Atwell still probably a couple weeks away. And is there confidence in Jordan Whittington? Did you notice on that chart there? Let me put that chart back up on the Rams offense. You got Adams, you got Nakua, but who was the first guy they listed here? They didn't list Jordan Whittington. They listed Xavier Smith. And I don't got a problem with Xavier Smith, and I like Jordan Whittington, but I think Jordan Whittington's kind of taking a step back. I do. I think he's taking a bit of a step back at this point in the season. The worst thing coming into Sunday's game is the Rams will be wearing their midnight mode unis against the Seahawks. This is a travesty. This is the biggest incompetence of the Rams organization. For as competent as they are, this is the kind of stupid stuff that will keep you from getting a fan base like the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Bears, because you play stupid games like this, right? Rams have some of the greatest uniforms traditionally in the history of the sport. For goodness sakes, the football helmet decal was invented by the Rams. They were the first ones to have horns on their helmet. And we're playing games like this. This is because, again, Kroenke, Demoff, and everybody, they're appealing to a base that's not worth appealing to. They're appealing to a base that'll abandon them in a heartbeat when everything goes south. Just wear your unis, man. Just wear your blue and gold. That's all you got to do. Drives me crazy. But what can we say? All right, let's see what else we got here. Tim Burns, the great Tim Burns. It's going to be a great game. I don't want a great game, Tim. I know what you're saying. A great game for me, Tim. Define great game. Define great game. A great game would be against the Rams and Seahawks would be Rams 35, Seahawks 21. That would be a great game. I don't want to see it to come down to the thicker kicker play where he has to give the Rams a 29-27 victory. Willie Bowen. Rams will dominate the Seattle Sea Chickens. Willie, did you see the show on Monday? And I introduced you to your new starting fullback. Rams have a fullback. Did you see that? Steelers, I'm sorry, not Steeler fan. Great Tim Burns. Seattle center was hurt versus Arizona. He is out. He is out, and they're actually playing with the idea, hoping he doesn't need surgery, but he's going to be out for several weeks now. And and their interior is not great, and they're struggling running the ball even when he was in there. So this is opportunity for the Rams. I hate to call it good news because you don't want to see somebody get hurt, but we can say this: it is opportunity, right? Okay. Rams schedule this week: Seahawks at home, and then they get the Buccaneers Sunday Night Football, November 23rd. That should be a good one. I do want to see the Buccaneers struggle a little bit before they come to Anaheim, before they come to SoFi, so the Rams can take advantage. And again, opportunity, right? Opportunity right here in the month of November. You know, you go back to 2021, and everyone thought it was over for the Rams in November. Rams played 3 times. They had a bye in November. Rams lost 3 straight games. Was it Titans, Frisco, and Green Bay? Stafford had 3 consecutive games of pick sixes. Of course, the analytics doesn't seem to exist when your tight end hands the ball to Jimmy Ward like Higbee did in that 49er game. Not that I'm bitter and remember, but everyone was writing off the Rams that after going winless in November. And this November, Rams again have an opportunity, right? They started with the win over the 49ers last week. They got an opportunity now against the Seahawks and Buccaneers at home. You take these games, and the fear of the Lord will come into the rest of the NFC, I think, going forward. I don't think we're going to have – I think the next crack the Rams get at the Eagles, it's going to be bad news for the Eagles. It is. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the Lions playing the Eagles this week. Lions have designated, doesn't mean they're getting them back, but they're getting back cornerback DJ Reed and Marcus Davenport. And I think if their defense can be, so like I was on the Rams, I wanted the Rams to get another wide receiver. I couldn't believe the Lions didn't get another edge rusher. And maybe that's because they believe in Marcus Davenport. I don't know. But if the Rams can get by the Buccaneers, then you got the Panthers, the Cardinals, then you got the Lions, Seahawks, Falcons, and Cardinals again. And that's where the Rams will be. All right. Let's see here. Willie Bowen. The LA Rams logo on the helmet should be closed. Oh, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I like it. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that. Let's see. Eagles. This ESG Eagles only scored 10 points. I wonder how A.J. Brown is feeling. I imagine he's nothing for him to do now except go along for the ride and read a good book on the sideline. There's no place left for him to go. Tim Burns. What Mensa thought playing the Raiders on Thursday night and then Monday Night Football was a draw. You can have all kinds of things, right? All kinds of things, right? When you come to NFL and Mensa. That's funny, dude. All right. So, again, I'm Joe Terosian, a sports writer for 21 years. Now I do RamView, thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law. And be sure to check them out. We're working on a QR code to put in the down corner there so you guys can check out Kistler Law for yourselves in a real simple fashion. Also, sports ball games. They're a new friend of the show, and they're fledgling, and we just want to see them succeed. So we're building a relationship with them. And if you look over my shoulder, there you see the green finger. That was a gift from them, and I do appreciate it. But sports ball games, right? It is a lot of fun, even if you're looking for a way to bring your crew together on game day without the gambling stress or fantasy overload. I've been in as many as 4 fantasy leagues at once. I know what that's like. Try sports ball games. Free pick 'em and squares, live leaderboards, bragging rights built in. One click and you're in. No fees, no spreadsheets, no headaches. Just sports fun for your whole group to enjoy. Whether you're cheering from the break room or the backyard, sports ball games makes every game day a team event. Play for fun, brag for real. I really like that line. Join sportsball.com and check it out. And also, guys, you guys know my day job. I pastor a church in Burbank. I pastor Burbank Faith Nazarene, and you can check us out on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, and then across social media at Burbank Faith Virtual, burbankfaithvirtual.com, and all places in between. Also, I do write books. My books are on Amazon. This isn't one of my football books. This is Sin Virus. And if you're into Walking Dead, Dawn of the Dead, George Romero, imagine that with a Christian twist. The spiritual axis of the world has tilted and a sin virus has come. Pick up Sin Virus in ebook format and soft cover off of Amazon. Be sure to check it out. Type in my name and I'll be able to afford something good for Christmas. There we go. All right. Cool. We got that in. I got a couple of questions that rolled in. Let's see. Michael Negretti. Pastor Joe, is Kyler Murray done in Arizona? I'll put it to a vote. Do you guys think Kyler Murray's done in Arizona? I think Kyler Murray's done in Arizona. I really do. I expected Arizona to be a little more competitive this year. I think they've hit on a lot of draft picks. They've done really well there, but I think they went the wrong way in signing a lot of these veterans. I think they wanted to maybe speed up their window, and I think they probably should have waited. But so they're taking those lumps right now. They'll correct them going forward. But Kyler Murray is the guy that we always thought, or I always thought, was their weakness. I always thought Kyler Murray was their weakness. You've heard us talk about it for years. I actually heard Colin Cowher use the word to describe Micah Parsons as a splash player, and I've been calling Kyler Murray a splash player for about 3 years now. He makes the big play, but Jacoby Brissett scares me more than Kyler Murray because Brissett's just going to hit the open man, right? He's going to, as Hank Stram used to say, he's going to matriculate the ball right down the field, where Kyler Murray is, he can't see the field, but 2, he's going to go for the big play all the time. Speaking of big play for the Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. had an appendectomy, so he's out this week, but I don't know if you come back in 1 week from an appendectomy. I have no idea. Chief, I'll call you back. I'm on the air. Thanks a lot. Bye. Cronky, always getting on my case. Here we go. I just my boss, I just hung up on him. So yeah, Kyler Murray's not it, and they've lost Marvin Harrison. My feeling is there any idea that maybe they might shut Marvin Harrison down? Why play him, right? Why not just play out the string, improve your draft stock for next year? Because I think they are going to move off Marvin Harrison. I really do, and he'll go someplace else. There was talk of the Steelers. I did see a link that showed the Rams would have interest. I would be flabbergasted if the Rams had interest in Kyler Murray. I would be so stunned if they had interest in him. I can't believe they would. Tim Burns, the great A's fan, does not like Kyler Murray. What was Murray's problem with the A's? Could he not hit the curveball? I was wondering if that was it. ESG, Kyler Murray was a top baseball prospect. I think he chose the wrong sport. I think he has a ceiling. That was Marvin Harrison calling because he is mad at me, right? Marvin Harrison was mad at me talking trash. Man, my boss is affecting my hit count now. People are disappearing on me. Around the NFL and other places, Packers center Elgton Jenkins goes on the IR, might be gone for the year. Eagles put Jair Alexander, a former Packer, on the reserved retired list. Remember when Jair Alexander was wanting out of Green Bay last offseason, and there was talk about, hey, the Rams should take a flyer on him, but he was making too much money. He doesn't do anything in Baltimore, and before he plays a snap, I think, in Philly, he's confused. Bills signed former Ram defensive lineman Morgan Fox. I like Morgan Fox. This is one of those guys that kind of took the Michael Hoyt route. Cut, released, practice squad, cut, released, waived, practice squad, and then eventually worked his way in. Was a contributor on the Super Bowl team in 2018. And then eventually had to leave as a free agent. But I like a guy like that because he's really worked his way. On Friday, I'm gonna find out how much he's made in his career as just a rotational undrafted free agent. But Morgan Fox signs with the Bills. Briefly, a Ram, Trey Brown, has signed with the Jets. And the Jets, the reason he signed with the Jets is Azaria Thomas. Remember Azaria Thomas? 6'2", big corner, Florida State kid. There was a lot of people saying the Rams should have interest in him because he's Florida State. He's connected with Verse and Fisk, and the Rams should maybe take a look at this guy. Well, Thomas hung around to the third round, and he hasn't played a lot of football this year. And right now he's out with a concussion, and I think that's why Trey Brown was signed by the Jets. Steelers activate Will Howard, quarterback, Ohio State. Steeler fan Rob, before he was on the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon, was saying Will Howard is the future of the Steelers. And then he got on the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon, Steeler fan Rob did, and Will Howard was never heard from again. And now Aaron Rodgers, he's off the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon, and Steeler fan Rob will probably be all over Will Howard. With all the injuries in their room, the Steelers assigned cornerback Asante Samuel. As much as I hate to say it, I'm probably going to pick the Steelers this week against the Bengals because I just can't see the Bengals beating the Steelers. Lions designate DJ Reed and Marcus Davenport to return. I told you about Marvin Harrison's appendectomy. And the Jags have lost Travis Hunter for the season. What a lost year for Deion Sanders' adopted child, right? What a lost year it was. All right. Paul, Morgan Fox was really good with the Rams. He just contributed. The Rams got a lot of clicks out of that guy. Absolutely. Tim Burns, it was money and a low on-base percentage was Kyler's game. Solid shortstop, and I hear Joe T has never been a fan. No, I was never a Kyler Murray guy. Never. They were anointing him before he did anything. Michael Negretti, Aaron Rodgers, if you're so great, why haven't you turned Blitzburg around? Relax, Blitzburg fans, break a leg. My thing about that is Steelers didn't get him any help. What was that? What was that garbage about not getting Aaron Rodgers any help? He needed help. And what are you doing? You got to get the guy help. I mean, DK Metcalf can't do it all, right? I like their tight ends, but I don't think their tight ends are as flexible as the Rams tight ends or as interchangeable as the Rams tight ends. And so, yeah, he needed more help, and they let him down. I think Omar let Aaron Rodgers down, and now that bill's coming due. All right, let's look at the schedule here. Jets, Patriots. Garrett Wilson is out with a knee injury. I'm going to take the Patriots at home. Pats win, but I want to see how they win. I want to see them smoke the Jets. If they smoke the Jets, that just proves how focused they are, and they're not messing around with just these so-so teams anymore. It's like, you know what? They're coming to town. We're going to crush them, get our guys out of the game by the end of the third, and move on to the following week. But, you know, if they struggle, and I know it's a division opponent, but if you struggle, you shouldn't struggle against the Jets. Doesn't mean the Patriots are fake news or fool's gold. It's just that we want to find out how far they are. And if they blow out the Jets with no struggle at all, then we're going to know that they're a little further along in the process than we thought. Taxkins at the Dolphins in Madrid. I'm forced to take the Fins in this one. Panthers at the Falcons. Of course, we're rooting for the Panthers. You'd think Carolina would do us a solid, but I'm leaning Falcons at home. Buccaneers at Bills. Big time game for both teams. I think the Bills are going to snap back. Still not happy with them, but I think they're going to snap back. Chargers at Jaguars. I got to go with the Chargers. Yeah, that was a miracle. That was an amazing game against the Steelers. And, you know, we can take shots at the Steelers, but they're not chumps. And the Chargers, with no offensive line, beat them and did a great job. Bears at Vikings. I'm going Bears. Packers at Giants. We're taking Packers in the Meadowlands or East Rutherford. Bengals at Steelers. Bengals, as much as I would love to have fun, right, with Steeler fan Rob, as much as I'd love to be this guy, you know, when Steeler fan Rob loses his cool, that's who I want to be. I want to be the guy on the other end of the text chain just going, good. I could feel your hatred grow. I got to take the Steelers against the Bengals, you know. Bengals, yeah. Bengals can't stop anybody, right? Let's see. Texans at Titans. You're taking the Texans over Tennessee. 49ers at Cardinals. I think that the end is coming in Arizona. So our eyes are focused right now on Frisco. They should bounce back. Seahawks at Rams. I've taken the Rams. Ravens at Browns. The Browns are a team that kind of hangs around and messes with you a little bit. If the Ravens are who everyone thinks they are, Ravens will take care of them. And here's the thing. This Ravens against the Browns is important because everyone knows who the Browns are, and it puts enormous pressure on the Steelers because it's going to be really bad if the Steelers and Ravens are both 5-5 at this point in the season by Sunday night. And then, of course, the Sunday night game, Lions and Eagles. That one's going to be really interesting to watch. Lions won't have Davenport and Reed back. They've been designated to return. I think they've been designated. I don't know if they are going to return. Yeah, they were designated. So we don't know for sure if they're going to be on the field. So that could come into play a little bit. I don't think a Lions loss here is horrible, but the Eagles are vulnerable. And I'm going to take the Lions in Philly. And then Cowboys at the Raiders. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we know how that works. We're going to take the Cowboys in that one. Speaking of Rams history,
it was a stone group, my man.
Not much to share, but tomorrow is the 4-year anniversary of the Rams signing. Oh, well, no, they had already signed OBJ, but it's the 4-year anniversary of Robert Woods tearing his ACL, which effectively ended his Rams career. So that was kind of a bummer. I have to admit, I think I was a little more emotionally attached to Robert Woods than Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is great. I love Cooper Kupp and everything, but I just loved watching Robert Woods play. I think it's because we had some connections watching him in high school, and then it looked like his career was going nowhere when we got him from Buffalo. And then he was the prototype that you saw what Rams receivers would become. It really is a chain from Woods to Kupp to Nakua that you really saw what these Ram receivers were expected to be, that they are kind of hybrid tight ends as was shared earlier. Yeah, that's what Nakua is. You look at Nakua, he probably should be a tight end. He blocks like a tight end. Robert Woods blocks. Cooper Kupp blocked. So yeah, I was big on Robert Woods, and that was a bummer when he went down with that knee injury. Do you realize Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods never played in a Super Bowl together? Because Kupp was out in 2018. When do you think maybe if Kupp had played in Super Bowl 53, the Rams would have beat the Patriots? That's a good question. Good question. Michael Negretti. Oh, I'm sorry. Michael Negretti. Pastor Joe, if the Rams land in the top 5 in the draft, should they draft one of the quarterbacks? If so, which one? If you're in the top 5, which I don't think they're going to be, but if you're in the top 5 and you're not drafting Fernando Mendoza, you're crazy, right? You're crazy. That's the guy I want, right? I don't know about Dante Moore right now because I've heard some talk that he's going to go back to school. I ran some mock drafts, not necessarily picking anybody. I just ran them to see who shows up, and it keeps showing the Rams taking a cornerback. But it keeps showing also Mendoza going like top 3 every mock draft I see. This guy just climbed up the ladder. So yeah, I'd take Fernando Mendoza in a heartbeat. Milo Negretti, Ravens versus Browns in the Browns Bowl. Yeah, there you go. The Art Modell Bowl, right? The Art Modell Bowl. So yeah, I would take the Ravens in that one. Chiefs at Broncos. I didn't pick that one, but I'll do it now. I'm sorry, I left you guys out on the hook on that one. Chiefs are 5-4 and have every reason. Everyone's out on Bo Nix, but I'm going to stick with the Broncos. I think the Broncos are just a deeper team, and Nix gets it done in the fourth quarter, and they're at Mile High. Is it Invesco Mile High? Mile High Invesco, Mile High Part 2. I don't know what it is, but if they're in Denver, it's got to be Mile High, right? So I'm taking the Broncos at home, and so yeah, Bo Nix won't look pretty for a while, and then everyone will come back, and they'll either be pro Nix or no on Nix. But I like Bo Nix. Let's see. Tim Burns. I love McVay figured out tight end usage finally. I love the 3 tight end packages and targets. And again, that's what we've been talking about. The ability to adapt, improvise, overcome, the ability to look at something and say, okay, we're going to change this. This is what makes McVay great. And again, I brought it up on Monday. I brought it up on the Rams Review wrap-up. How does Kyle Shanahan have Brian Robinson on that roster, and he's only a caddy to Christian McCaffrey, when McCaffrey's very versatile, and you could put him in the slot. You could do all kinds of creative things with him, and have Robinson and McCaffrey on the field at the same time. I don't get it. And if you guys see Frisco playing the Cardinals this week, if you see both those guys on the field at the same time for a significant amount of time, I want you to make sure you let everyone know who called it, right? There you go. Okay. I think we got through everything else. Looking at records, looking at this, looking at that. Yeah, I think we're good. So any questions coming in, guys? I'm happy to hang out here for another 5 minutes or so. Let's get it to the 40-minute mark. I might have went kind of fast today. But I do like the Rams schedule going forward. I do, because you're getting the Seahawks and Buccaneers at home right now. So the Rams could be 9-2 going to Carolina in week 13, November 30th. That could be 10-2. Rams go to the Cardinals week 14. That could be 11-2. And then it gets a little serious right here for a couple of weeks. Then you get the Lions at home, a winnable game. And then you get the Seahawks on the road. Seahawks, on a Thursday night. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Just because what would the Seahawks be playing for at that point, right? I'm not sure what the Seahawks. I do have the Seahawks schedule. Forgive me. Let me take a look here. The Seahawks schedule after the Ram game is Titans, Vikings, Falcons, Colts, Rams, Panthers, 49ers. So, Vikings, Seahawks can beat them, right? Falcons, Seahawks can beat them. Colts, they can beat them. They are competitive with the Rams, Panthers. So the Seahawks schedule is very helpful to them down the stretch. And they're going to be in good shape. So they'll still be alive. So the thing is, Rams need to beat them this week. I still think the Rams could lose to them. That's okay. Then you'll have to win in Lumen. I said the Rams could be 4-2 in the division and still win it. But the Rams could end up being 11-2, right? By the time they get to what would that be? By the time they get down to playing the Lions and the Seahawks again, right? They could be 11-2, but the Seahawks could be right there with them, right? Just because the Seahawks schedule is really soft. And then that Monday night game against Atlanta. Not only is that about, but I want to make sure there's no hiccup there with the Atlanta game, is that I don't only want to just see Atlanta lose because I want the Rams to give a better draft pick. I just don't want it to be a competitive game. I don't want Atlanta to have anything to play for, right? We want Atlanta to struggle. We want Atlanta to just go, oh man, we're going to need a new head coach. Maybe Michael Penix isn't what we thought he was. You know, all sorts of things. That's what we want. We want confusion and despair in Atlanta. We want them feeling like they felt when Sherman burned the place down, right? And then potentially week 18 is a week where the Rams can start Jimmy G, right? Start Jimmy G, start Jarquez. You know, find out if Bo Limmer can get any more snaps this year. You know, we don't want to see any of the starters playing in week 18. And that's where this season is trending right now with the Cardinals meltdown. Paul, do you think Cardi is done? If Mevis has one more game, right? If he has, we have to see him kick a field goal. But if he has another game where he doesn't create any stress, right? Nothing's blocked, right? Then I think Cardi could be done. I do, because they will have to make a decision because of the roster issues and everything. Yeah, I think he could be done. I think he could be cut. Somebody else may sign him. He can come back as a camp leg. He can come back on the practice squad. I don't know. But the Rams aren't going to suffer any drama this half of the season, because honestly, think about what changes for the Rams if the kicking game is sound, right? If the kicking game is sound, then there's so much that goes away, right? And then your thinking, you know, changes offensively when you get on the other side of the 50. There's just so many issues that go away if you can just trust your kicking game, right? And so, yeah, I don't think they're gonna be good guys and say, well, let's give him the old chance again to get his job back. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Mevis is gonna really have to fall apart this week for it to become an issue. So cool. All right, we've hit the 40-minute mark. I really enjoy being here. Guys, I promise as we get through the season, I'm starting to master this stuff just a little bit better. But as we get through the season, we will go back to one set time. It's just been really hard. Post-World Series, all the Monday night, Thursday night, all these different games, it's just really been hard to try to lock it in at 5 o'clock like we were going to. So, all right, let's see here. I told you Hunter wasn't going to have issues. Sorry, Hunter. Was going to have issues. There you go. Let's see. Do you think the Rams will go for the number 1 seed even after clinching the division? Yeah, you know, it depends. If it's on the table week 18, yeah, why play that extra game if you don't have to, right? Why give anybody a shot? I think if anyone knows how to use that time off, it would be McVay. So yeah, I would expect the starters to play if there's a chance to lock up the NFC number 1 seed, right? And think what that means. You know, you're not going to Lambeau. You're not going to Philly. I know, again, I don't worry about this team going on the road. Stafford, you know, Stafford we trust, right? I don't worry about this team going on the road, but think of the places you avoid. You know, I think it would be a long shot, but I wouldn't want to go to Chicago. I just wouldn't want to go to any of these places. Make them come here. Now, again, we're on the road. Rams are on the road when they're in SoFi, right? Rams are on the road when they're in SoFi. So might as well just do it with better weather. So yeah, I think the Rams would go for the number 1 seed just so you could eliminate that first round, and you only got to win 2 games to get to the Super Bowl, right? So yeah, I definitely think that would be it. All right, guys, we come to the 45-minute mark. I got to run. Thank you for your patience. Thank you to Kistler Law. Thank you for their support. Thanks for buying my books. I do appreciate that. And yes, Steeler fan